It's an honor to be with you today, an honor to share really some of my story with you, some of my journey, in the hopes that you would embrace your own just a little bit more. So if I asked you to close your eyes for just a moment, like I've asked my students to do this, and I asked you, what does a mathematician look like? I wonder who you would picture when I say mathematician. Now, oh, sorry. Tech?
Oh, there you go.
Okay. Much better? Okay. So I can peer into your brains, and that's probably a good thing. But I wonder who you would have pictured. So I actually Googled this, and this is what I got. Which may or may not surprise you, but there are 4 women on this page. And actually one of them is repeated, so 3 women, and 20 men. You know, researchers asked children, young children, what do they picture a scientist looks like? And I think they were 2nd graders. And they gave, you know, a typical answer, a man with white crazy hair, glasses, and he was wearing a lab coat. And that sounds funny. That sounds like the comic book character we might see maybe in a cartoon. But it's not so funny when you ask your own daughters that, and they actually give you that answer. I was really surprised when my daughters gave me that answer, and so I thought about, well, what can I do to change that? So I engaged them in some citizen science tasks. It was called backyard insects. Went backyard, found bugs, which a lot of kids love to do. But we did something more. We measured them, we took pictures of them, and we were able to upload all of this on a database that is for scientists to share. And then I asked my daughter, draw me a picture of a scientist. And this is what she drew. Oh, can you imagine how proud I was? I didn't write the objective on the board. She didn't repeat it to me over and over. But this superseded my want, my desire. It kind of looks like her. And that's what I wanted her to see. I wanted her to see that she was a scientist, that she could be one, that it wasn't something aloof, maybe something almost unreal, something only that maybe society told her that structure looks like, but something more. I believe that mathematics as well has to embrace equality. And Chris talked a little bit of my journey. But the reality is that many of our current events right now in our nation are hinged on that critical focus, the state of women, right? Well, women have won many rights not initially granted. There is still work to do. And we are facing some of those realities right now in our modern day of 2018. And the reality is that even if more women go into these fields, they have to take on the burden of gender oppression that has to do with their pay, maybe promotions, and opportunities that they have. Chris mentioned why this is such a critical passion for me. The photo at the top was taken by Harper's Bazaar in their August issue. And in the title it says, Math Educator Trailblazing, Closing the Pay Gap for Women. Those are never things I ever imagined that I would be. Many of you are teachers. You know, the quiet one in your classroom, the one that doesn't raise their hand ever, the one sometimes you forget isn't there. That was me. So in 2012, I found myself as the only woman in a mathematics department. And I found out that all the male hires were being paid at a salary steps of thousands of dollars more. And it didn't matter if I superseded them in education, experience, or seniority. And I had to make a choice. What am I going to do? Now, lawsuits are called frivolous at times. It's been 6 years and my case is not over. And we're having a conversation about equality when maybe some of us assumed that was already given. So I started advocating, going to Sacramento. And the first time I made my trip up there, my daughter was 3 months old. My youngest daughter was 3 months old, and I sat there in 2 minutes, had to tell my story, and asked legislators to pass some of the strongest pay equity bills in the nation. You see here my daughter's 9 months, and I'm watching the governor sign at the signing ceremony. Equality needs to happen in all fields. But as I think of mathematics, I think of what I was trying to do. I was trying to get more girls to like mathematics, more girls to be interested, and I couldn't fathom the thought that the end of that journey would be sitting down by a man who takes more money home to his family. So I think we need to embrace equality. These women are phenomenal. Katherine Johnson, Dorothy Vaughan, Mary Jackson. But they weren't in my history books. These women used mathematics to get men into space, and they did so under policies and procedures that were nothing more than discrimination. I wonder if you pictured any of these women when you closed your eyes just a few moments ago. Well, we need to embrace equality, we also need to embrace diversity. Diversity of every race, every language, every culture, every religion, because the field of mathematics must be inclusive and recognize that each of us has a unique and valuable perspective. I taught for 6.5 years in a program where all my middle school students were immigrant children. I watched firsthand how they try to acclimate to a new country. But I also saw firsthand the fear in their eyes and in their faces when they worried about immigration raids. I spent 6.5 additional years as a mathematics consultant and walked into different schools across Fresno County. And I would feel my heart break every time I would walk into that remedial math class and see it filled with students of color. I've been committed to doing everything I can to change that narrative, for it to be different. And some of our work at the AIM Center, I work with early math. So I am working with 3- and 4-year-olds. And in that work with 3- and 4-year-olds, we were interested, how do they learn math? What kind of opportunities do they have in the classroom? What kind of playful experiences can we bring to them? And in that journey, we discovered that more than likely an early teacher who's teaching math to these young children are women of color. In early education, there's overrepresentation of women and women of color. And these women have a high proponent for math anxiety. As we brought these math experiences to these children, we saw the teachers' eyes light up. They were seeing math in a different light. And what we realized is that if we brought the joy back into these teachers' eyes, we changed the stories that they were used to from their own experiences. One of the teachers shared her story about middle school and how she turned a test in to a teacher. And he looked at her because she was the first one done, and he said, "Who did you copy from?" That memory was so detailed that she shared it years and years ago. But she still remembered how she felt, and she said, that was the last time I cared about doing mathematics. We need to make sure that everyone's included, that everyone sees that their potential, that they can do something, that they're part of this story. Mathematics needs to stop being a competition, right? It's a collaboration. It's working together because the future of humanity depends on it. This is a picture of my father and my mother. My father, I grew up in a home where my father was an artist, and that wasn't his profession, but that was his passion. Wherever he could use art to serve the community, he would. Whether it was doing something for the school play or for the church, I always saw him using art. And so we grew up with an appreciation for that. And so when I became a math teacher, I tried to bring out the art. I saw students light up when it was always something that they could get their hands in doing, something beautiful, something that they could look back and say, wow. And I saw that in mathematics, and I wanted to make those connections so clear to them. Mathematics is beautiful. So why is it so distasteful to so many? I never hear people speak the same about music or cinema or works of art. Music and math may move people to tears, but probably for different reasons. We need to embrace the arts. We need to see that it's there. It's so beautiful. It's just wanting us to engage with it. Whether it's with small children or the grad students that I help teach, I try to bring that art to them for their experiencing. Little children love to create. They love to be proud of their creations. And we try to help our teachers see how much mathematics is there. Well, what shape did you use to make that? How many triangles did you use? Is this the same as this other one? Those small questions getting kids curious about what they're doing. And origami boxes become a city where your Lego zip line can go through. And so much creativity comes out through these children. Creativity in mathematics is vital. It goes hand in hand with innovation and problem solving. And there's so many ways to engage the artistic side of us. My graduate students will first get frustrated. You see that middle picture there. They get frustrated as I was teaching them these models. And then I couldn't stop them. And I go, what if the paper was a different shape? What if my folds were a little thicker? What if, and that's exactly what I wanted them to do. And then I think we need to embrace the potential of mathematics. I was thinking the other day about these, our glorious mathematics practices, right? And some of you are very familiar with those. Make sense in problem solving, construct viable arguments, attend to precision, look for and make use of structure. What kind of world would we live in if the people who exemplified these were running the government? Wow. And so Chris shared with you that I'm running for office. We'll see what happens. But you know why I'm running for office? It's not because it's the year of the woman. It's because we need problem solvers. We've been getting used to complaining and criticizing, but that doesn't make progress. Those are the people that looked at all of these problems that we have economically and structurally. We're engineers. We're physicists. We're mathematicians. All too often, I remember as a teacher telling my students how they could use mathematics. You can be an engineer one day. You can go into computer science. But let's not forget that they can serve their community. Serve on a school board, be part of city council, maybe be the president of the country. Because we need those types of thinkers in our community. And the government is one of those places that is in dire need of change. I think all over the world, the piece of collaboration that's so powerful can come from mathematicians, how we work together, how we're innovative, how we think and have to collaborate with each other, and how we see that as part of our passion and our joy, our perseverance. So we need more mathematicians. Did you picture yourself at the beginning of this presentation? I hope from now on you will. You are what mathematics needs, and the field needs your perspective, your frame of reference, your ideas, your imagination, the joy that you bring to the math world. That's what we need. Together, the picture of mathematics is more beautiful. When anyone is cut out, we're missing that piece. It's more colorful when we're together, and together we can ensure that no one is left out. We can change the narrative of mathematics to embrace equality, diversity, the arts, and the potential it has to serve others. Thank you for your time today.